And welcome back, everybody, to this edition of the Mass Steel Podcast here. Me, Charles Price, and Richie, as we got another good one in store for you right now. As we take a look at it right now, we are just about a week and a half away, or less than a week away, I should say, in 4 days from the very first preseason opener of the Pittsburgh Steelers when they open up things this Friday when they will be taking on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And this about an interesting campus is going to be on NFL Network, by the way, so that will be available for all Steeler fans to check out pretty much. If not, go to Steeler Bar or whatever. If you get NFL Network or the NFL Mobile Pass, feel free to hit that up. And once again, everybody, welcome back to this edition of the Mass Steel Podcast. It's always got you leaving here. I know it's one thing that's MIA right now is you're in Steeler Country flag. We'll have it back up next time. Don't worry, I got you guys back. Very proud to be excited to be announcing that I will be going to training camp this weekend, beginning this Saturday in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. Just getting some travel plans ready. But definitely an exciting weekend of football. We just saw the Hall of Fame class 2020. It's, which one of the biggest news of the weekend when you heard the announcement that, and I was talking about this on my other show with On Deck, that's usually on CSR, aka Chicagoland Sports Radio, that runs every Saturday from 1 to 2 p.m. 20 enshrinees up to next year, which is a lot. There's going to be a whole lot of debate right there. I'm sure a lot of you as Steelers fans are wondering right now, who you think your list of names you think should be in on the ballot, or Steelers from the 70s, or some guys who actually were just recently on the ballot. I mean, aside from Troy Polamalu, who's going to be getting his first opportunity, we'll find out by Super Bowl 54 weekend if he'll be a first balloter in that, which I think he should be. I think he's done enough. Like I said, he's been an 8-time Pro Bowler as well as 4-time All-Pro, 2-time Super Bowl champion, Defensive Player of the Year award. And he had John Clayton come on 93.7, The Fan, at the end of last week. I want to say it was Thursday or Friday, and he definitely feels like that Troy Polamalu, all the Pro Bowls that he's accumulated in his career, that he doesn't see why he should not be. And because he was just such a game changer. And you look at a lot of these guys who went in as far as like this past weekend. When you look at Ed Reed, who only has one ring, but he's got one more Pro Bowl than Troy and one more All-Pro selection than him. But I think the biggest difference where he edges him out in that category is that he's won the ring 2 times. When you really look at it, I mean, look at the other list of safeties who are in the Hall of Fame. You look at guys, like I said, let's take a look at it real quick. You got Edwin Tuttle in there, who's been a first ballot Hall of Famer. It's been only, as far as like the safety position goes, you had at least like 2 other guys go in as a first ballot, which safeties have not had a lot of luck, as people may remember. But like I said, the other 2 guys that went in first ballot in the Hall of Fame, like I said, you got Edwin Tuttle, who played for the New York Giants as well as the Green Bay Packers. He was a back-to-back. No, he wasn't. He was just a regular one-time champion, with the Green Bay Packers in 1961. And like I said, he was a 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. This was pre-Super Bowl era, by the way. And the other guy who went in first ballot, aside from Ed Reed, was, like I said, it was 2 other gentlemen. You also had Larry Wilson, too, who actually played on a losing team for most of his career. When you think about a lot of things, what he did, he was on the Cardinals right there. The St. Louis Cardinals, as a matter of fact, for all his career. And they're pretty much right up there in the category with the Aints, the New Orleans Saints. I mean, think about that. He worked his tail off for 13 years. And the thing with him was a guy like Larry Wilson. He was an 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro, never a champion, but still, I think, like I said, I think when people look at the championships, people may kind of get a little muffled at times and start to think, well, how come this guy isn't in on this first ballot or in the Hall of Fame at all? Don't get me wrong. I think the rings is a part of it. But a guy, like I said, with Troy Polamalu, when you look at the other guys, he is a multi-champion. I mean, he's had a Defensive Player of the Year award, as well as one of the third highest number of Pro Bowls in this category. When you really think about things, or second highest, I should say, with 4 times the All Pro. Plus, he had Defensive Player of the Year. And there's some other guys, too, I mean, who are on this list. When you look at, like, Emlyn Tuttle, it's really not unfair to him. I mean, remember, the Defensive Player of the Year award did not exist until, I believe, about 1971. And the very first guy to win it was Alan Page, which, by the way, who happened to be also the very first to win Defensive Player of the Year and the MVP of the award. And that was right there. I mean, Alan Page, who right there, he was a Viking for his career and his NFL career. He was a defensive tackle and played for a lot of respectable Super Bowl teams on the Vikings, even though they came up short each time. 4-time. I mean, he's a 3-time AFC champion as well as a former AFL champion. But like I said, it just goes to show you how tough it could be on that. And you look at the overall positions as far as like the Canton Hall of Fame. And I was like looking earlier, I was looking at an article earlier today that was written up. And you look at the Steelers in that regard, and you start thinking as far as what the Steelers, like especially a guy like Troy Polamalu's case, when you look at it, and the guy who I'm referring to, this was an article that was written on Trib Live. And give me 1 second, real quick here, just getting the info right now. It was written by Mark Mann, who was also former wrestling voice personality with WCW, Pittsburgher. And he was saying like how Troy Polamalu did not necessarily get in his first attempt with the Hall of Honor. I'm going to say this to Mark Mann real quick. You know what? I call that just a little bit of hogwash, in my opinion. And I don't think that Troy Polamalu would have made it if not for being in the Hall of Fame already. If he was already in the Hall of Fame, he'd already be in the Hall of Honor right now. Let's just remember that for right now. I think with a guy like Troy, what he does, it's what Troy Polamalu, like I said, he's taken the available opportunity, what's happened to him. He's got the complete body of work. He's got the complete resume overall. And like I said, he's one of the very rare multi-champions in this group. When you look at it, I mean, the rest of these guys on safeties, I mean, like I said, let's take a look at the other list. I mean, so you got Ed Reed, who just went in this past weekend as a strong and free safety. Very dominant Raven, by the way. No one could argue that. 64 interceptions. One in the top 10 list, I want to say, as far as like leaderboards in the NFL. And like I said, you had Emlyn Tuttle real quick here, former Giant and Packer, former NFL champion with Vince Lombardi pre-Super Bowl era, first ballot Hall of Famer. Then you also had Willie Wood, who actually did not get in. When you look at his attempt, it took him like his 13th try to get in. He waited 13 years after his actually I should say 17 years after his retirement, but when his Hall of Fame, his first eligibility would have been 1977. So he waited like at least pretty much like about 12, 13 years from there at that point in time. And then you also look at Phil Krause real quick too. I mean, Willie Wood too, by the way, before I go on. He's another guy. He was also on this list when you look at it. He was a 5-time NFL champion as well as a 2-time Super Bowl champion on that legacy team with Bart Starr and Vince Lombardi. That team never won a Defensive Player of the Year, but 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. They had Paul Krause, like I said, former Redskin and Vikings majority of his career, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. He didn't get in until about 2 decades later after his retirement. 1998, as a matter of fact, he went in. He wasn't a first ballot. They had Kenny Easley, too, who actually got in 2 years ago, who I think just passed away, I want to say a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. He was 1984 Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time Pro Bowler, as well as 3-time All-Pro. He did not get first ballot. They also had Brian Dawkins, who probably could have made first ballot, but he got in a second try. 9-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. And then Larry Wilson, who played from 1960 to 1972, 8-time Pro Bowler, 5-time All-Pro. No chance to speak of, despite playing on a losing team with the Cardinals when you look at it. And like I said, you also look at Aeneas Williams, who was another guy who I think played with the Cardinals too. He played for at least 14 seasons in the league, almost 15, 8-time Pro Bowler, 3-time All-Pro. I believe he got inducted in 2014, so he had to wait at least like a decade before he got in. And then, of course, last but not least, Ken Houston, 12-time Pro Bowler. So, excuse me, I take that back. Troy Polamalu had the third most Pro Bowl selections amongst these safeties lists, but he had to wait. I mean, no, he did not have to wait. Excuse me. He got it in 1986, so I take that back. But Ken Houston, like I said, that was a guy right there, I mean, who played for some gritty Houston Oiler teams right there. I mean, other Bum Phillips right there, who definitely gave the Steelers some fits in those AFC Championship games. You know, the Steelers beat them both times. Still a very competitive battle each time for the Steelers to go on to Super Bowl 13 and Super Bowl 14 at that point in time. But you look at it right there, and you saw like how much respect he was. I mean, of course, when you think of Bum Phillips, of course you think of Wade Phillips right now, who's still kicking strong right now in the NFL. Was a Super Bowl champion as a defense coordinator, I believe, with the Denver Broncos. And right now he's defense coordinator for the LA Rams. So, you look at those connections right there and those ties. It goes to show you the body of work right there, what he had with them, those associations. So, like I said, but I think Troy Polamalu, like I said, end of the day, I'm going to have to say yes. Like I said, complete body of work. Not only does he have 2 Super Bowl rings, he's got a Defense Player of the Year award, 8-time Pro Bowler, 4-time All-Pro. It's the complete body of work, period. I think he definitely finds a way to get in. Also, as we move along here on opening drive, that's news that was breaking that I found out. I was waking up this morning, I saw this, and this was tweeted out late Sunday evening at 7:57 p.m. According to ESPN's Jeremy Fowler, senior NFL writer, who also happens to cover the Steelers, by the way, for ESPN. He can be followed at JFowler, ESPN. He was saying that Steelers and quarterback Joe Haden are making progress on a 2-year extension per source. And like I said, you remember the storyline throughout the week that we were hearing. Drew Rosenhaus, who actually met with Omar Khan, who's actually one of the chief genius masters of the Steelers front office brass, alongside guys with Kevin Colbert, and of course, Art Rooney Jr. But like I said, the second. So they exchanged proposals. Of course, we already know the fact that he's going to be due $10 million this year, and the last year was deal. But they're going to try to rework out a deal where they can extend it for the 2021 season, which I think would be very smart right there. And I think right there, that also sends a message right there. As long as I think, when you have a guy like Ben Roethlisberger, you look at how, all the pieces are falling in place. I think right now, when you look at it, I think what they're trying to do is that this is our best team that we feel like we have going forward since the partitions of guys when you look at it, like Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, etc. The list goes on and on. But like I said, I think you look at all that stuff right there, and you start to see why they feel like, you know what, this is our best hand we got on here. We're gonna ride with these guys to the end, and we're gonna show people why we can still be a competitive group and still be a championship team. If it doesn't work out by the time around the time Ben Roethlisberger's career is over, I guess they may have to look into blowing this thing up, which I definitely can understand right there when you look at it. But like I said, I think for right now, the thing is you want to keep this thing as strong as you possibly can. You want this to be a unified team going forward. I mean, so far the locker room has been fantastic. I mean, despite what a lot of guys and players in that locker room are saying as of right now, but I do feel right now it's going to have to be a big wait and see because any way you go around it, it's always going to be a reminder. Maybe not so much to like Steelers fans or people in that media, but from a football perspective, that how would you let the two best talents at each of their position, which this league is rarely seen, when you got Antonio Brown, who's probably considered like almost like a Randy Moss, Terrell Owens type. I'm not going to go so much as far as like Jerry Rice, but I'd probably definitely say Randy Moss and Terrell Owens. That's not Terrell Owens before, but you can also throw Moss in that category. But I mean, Moss just definitely has some great athleticism too. Let's not forget. And then Le'Veon Bell right now. I mean, I think the thing is too with James Conner, who's still got to prove himself as well. I think a lot of people feel like he's going to be in good hands with that organization, with the team, give some fans some encouragement to show why he could be the back of the future as well as special talent of the future for this offense. And that's where I think it really boils down to and all that and all that stuff that gets put in the shuffle here, where I think about it. But yeah, I definitely feel it was very interesting. And then also too, I mean, so I'm hoping he does get his deal. But at the same time, too, let's also take a look at it. But also, too, we had Mike Tomlin, who's actually being interviewed by Jeremy Fowler of ESPN, who I just mentioned a moment ago. Not only was he also talking about potentially extending Hayden per source to a 2-year extension from 2020 to 21. Also, here's some comments real quick here by Mike Tomlin. Why don't you guys take a listen to it about what he felt as far as Odell Beckham Jr. and the Browns. Take a listen to this. And you know what? The one thing I will take away from that, and I kind of know it down. I wonder if the Browns are going to be using this as bulletin board material when they see this. I doubt they will. But if you notice, if anyone had a chance to watch the video, look up on Jeremy Fowler's Twitter stream. Again, he can be followed at JFowler ESPN. And what Mike Tomlin was doing, he was pretty much doing this before he even answered his question, pretty much yawning at the guy. But I mean, no disrespect to a guy like Odell Beckham. I'm sure he knows in the AFC North division, AFC North football, physical football always going to be demanded every time when you go out there on that field of battle. I just feel like he's seen the football wars overall as in his coaching career, and nothing really surprises him at this stage in time. I just feel like this is a guy who's just saying, you know what, it's another guy in their division, game on. I mean, is it any different when a lot of people felt like Terrell Owens, even though he was still doing good, maybe a little bit on the decline at times, but going from a Dallas Cowboy to the Bills and then to the Bengals back in 2010, along with Chad Ochocinco, Chad Johnson that year. And you looked at it right there, and you figured that was going to be a tough stretch for the Steelers that year, especially when you had Carson Palmer still lurking around. You thought he was going to have like the biggest weapons in that year, but that's what ended up happening that year. I mean, the Steelers right there, they were able to win the division, the AFC champions, and they were also they went back to the Super Bowl, even though they not finished the deal. But at the same time, too, the Steelers, they made quick work of a guys like Shad Johnson and Terrell Owens alongside Carson Palmer, a respectable Bengals defense. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, but yeah. If anything, I just feel like right now when you look at it, that was still a tough stretch. That was still another team right there who was actually able to get two playoff appearances, steal two AFC North division titles from the Steelers in that division. I mean, of course, we all know what happened the very first time in 2005. The Steelers had their backs to the wall. They had to win all out pretty much. I mean, probably could have got away with losing one game, but way that right, that winning streak put them in the playoffs as a wild card, and they won one of the toughest ways to win a Super Bowl that year. The rest is history. They won Super Bowl 40, get revenge on the Bengals, as well as Peyton Manning, Edgerrin James, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne of the Colts, who embarrassed them on Monday Night Football, beat them in the divisional round, and then they beat the Denver Broncos in Mile High, which is another team who seems to haunt them every now and then in the playoffs. The Broncos, especially playing in Mile High Stadium, which it was at that time. And then to go beat the Seattle Seahawks in Jerome Bettis' hometown of Detroit in Ford Field for Super Bowl 40. Got the one for the thumb. Jerome Bettis announces his retirement. He's going out on top following that game after being interviewed by Mike Tirico. And like I said, what ends up happening after that? 3 years later, they're Super Bowl champions once again, setting a record at the time, 6 Super Bowl titles, which is now, unfortunately, at this moment, is tied with the Patriots. So that's a lot of things to keep in mind right there. Again, if you guys want to feel free to join in anytime, the number to be reached is 312-209-2232. Again, that number is 312-209-2232. You can also follow me on Twitter at Project Richie. You can also check me out streaming live on Instagram currently, Men of Steel Nation. And of course, my YouTube channel, Men of Steel Podcast. And of course, like I said, we definitely got some stuff to get into. I feel like I said, I don't feel like Mike Tomlin was disrespecting Odell Beckham, but at the same time, too, I'm just going to say, just be prepared, coach. Making some bulletin board material on you for that. And it's, like I said, we shall see if this is a complete, different Browns team that's going to really, threaten, possibly win some games with the Steelers. Dare shall sweep, but I don't know. I mean, at some point, like I said, you got to start turning some misfortunes around sooner or later. Even though they're not trusted as far as winning, but I do feel like right now what they need to do is they just need to just keep their composure, just keep the focus in the locker room, and I think they will definitely be fine in that regard. And I think they're going to do wonders throughout the year. I mean, the Steelers right there. So let's get ready to go wrap up things. Let's go fair or foul, as usually like to close out here on the foul 15-minute stretch of the Men of Steel Podcast. This is Charles Project Richie. And let's get to some of the topics here as we get ready to close out right now. Fair or foul on topic number one. According to the Athletic that was written online, there's some team they're ranking which of last year's non-playoff teams had the best chance of getting in this year. The number one team, according to Shio Kapadia, for 2018, he was saying he had the Vikings at number one. Then, of course, he also had coming in at number two. Give me just 1 second here. You had the Browns at number two, was actually trying to get in. And then also at number three, the Steelers. The Steelers are third in that ranking out of 20 teams. And the reason for the Steelers is that he really believes that Ben Roethlisberger, he's going to have a spread ball offense. The guys like Juju Smith-Schuster, Vance McDonald, Dante Moncrief, James Washington, Deontay Johnson, And he really believes that for the second straight year that Ben Roethlisberger, he's going to find a way to eclipse 5,000 yards passing, which I think I would not be surprised if he does that again. I'm not sure about 5,000, but I definitely feel like if he stays healthy, you can definitely see 4,000. He's going to find a way to get his numbers. He's going to put those on the board, and he's like a guy. He's going to be playing like a man possessed. Only question is, how much possessed? How much ball pass savvy he's he going to be? Especially when you're trying to evolve Juju Smith-Schuster into a number one wide receiver. But at the same time, too, some people who are looking from the outside in, can you match production? But at the same time, too, I really think come back to that defense. I'm going to have to definitely go with, for right now, as far as number 3, I'll go fair for right now. I got to take them at their word that a lot of guys are staying focused. They're practicing much better. You're not hearing so much like off-season like headlines where you're waiting week to week or day to day if one guy is going to get his money or his guaranteed money for a contract. Which I'm very happy for Le'Veon Bell, by the way, even though, unfortunately, heartbroken to not work out with the Steelers last year. I mean, and you start to see what's happening around the league, how it's reacting right now. You're seeing other teams starting to view this right now. Barry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, Ezekiel Elliott, who still actually got 2 years left on his rookie deal, and he's not ready to like necessarily like budge necessarily to give Zeke his money, especially when you got a guy like Dak Prescott right now. I think he's on the final year of his rookie deal with the Cowboys, who's actually, like I said, Jerry Jones is always a businessman, entrepreneur, one of the best to ever do it. But at the same time, too, when you look at it on that squad, you got like a guy like Dak Prescott, who's been playing some real good winning football since coming on there. A lot of people will probably attribute it to, but he's also playing behind Ezekiel Elliott in a decent offensive line. But this guy is a winner. He is a leader and as a motivator at the end of the day. He's actually, as of right now, like I said, he's on the final year of his deal where they're getting a cap number of $2.12 million. So, like I said, again, for the Steelers being ranked number 3, I'm going to go with fair on that one. Topic number 2, and the final one. Steelers players who are not in the Hall of Fame, who have an opportunity to get for next year in the 2020 Hall of Fame for next year's induction in Canton, Ohio. Here's a list, folks, real quickly, that Mark Mann wrote. You got Larry Brown, and this is pretty much the Steelers from the 70s he's alluding to. You got Larry Brown, who actually played for 14 seasons, who, aside from being a 4-time Super Bowl champion, he was a 1-time Pro Bowler. You got L.C. Greenwood, who's actually been passed away for 6 years now, who's not in the Hall of Fame, which I think he should be in due time. It's been long overdue. I mean, only unfairness to him that he didn't have sacks count for him. Remember, sacks didn't become an official stat for a player until 1982. But this guy was, aside from being a 4-time Super Bowl champion, who started and ended the same time with Mean Joe Green. He was a 6-time Pro Bowler and a 2-time All-Pro. And if you really think about it, he had sacks in the 70s, which is in the top 3 or 5 of the Steelers' all-time sack ranks, if you were to count those sacks. So he should be in there. Then, of course, you got Donnie Shell.